This is TechVibe Radio, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at Compunetics.com, Chorus Call at ChorusCall.com, Highmark at Highmark.com, Huntington Bank at Huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at PNC.com, and Savier at Savier.com. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios. Thank you so much for joining me here on TechVibe Radio. I hope you're having a Sunday morning like none other. All I can say is that I love Sundays because I love bringing everybody a front row seat to all the great companies and people that are making Pittsburgh's technology industry tick. That is for sure. And today we have a repeat offender, for lack of a better term, coming on our show today. And I mean that in the best of terms. We have Ken Ramoutar here from Lucas Systems. And so glad to have you here, Ken. I'm just amazed with what your company does. I get these press releases all the time about different accomplishments that you guys have, different milestones that you're hitting. I'm like, you know what? We haven't heard from Ken in a while. Yeah. So I'm glad to have you back here on the air today.
Yeah, happy to be here. I'm glad to give you an update on what we're up to at Lucas and some of the stuff going on in the industry.
Yeah, before we get started, though, in case people just don't know who Lucas is, give me the elevator pitch for Lucas, because you do some pretty amazing stuff.
Lucas, many people may not know us. Some might say we're kind of a quiet company.
Very quiet, yes.
We've been around 26 years,
Wow.
Which is our 26-year anniversary. We're headquartered up here in Wexford. We make software for distribution centers to help workers do their jobs better, faster, easier. And we've been doing that a while. We're in over 400 distribution centers around the world on multiple continents. You probably know some, people don't go into distribution centers much, they don't know, but they see the end product of that. So some of our customers are like CVS, the Container Store, Abercrombie, companies that you wouldn't know that they're running their distribution, and when you get your products in the store at your home, it's Lucas behind the scenes.
That's what's so cool, and that's why I love what you guys do, because especially during COVID, when we had to go online to order everything. I don't think people realize the importance of a well-run, efficient warehouse, right? It's kind of like it's the unsung hero. These things just don't show up at your house just because they randomly show up. There is some crazy technology that you guys have that makes that happen. Before we jump into the technology, I have one more thing we got to do. I got to talk about Ken real quick, because you got a really cool background, man. You have an amazing background. And how long have you been with Lucas for?
So I'm coming up on 4 years at Lucas.
All right.
I'm the chief marketing officer there, having a blast because the space is lots happening in the space, as you said, all driven by what consumers want, faster delivery. So everybody's paying attention to the distribution center now. They didn't used to. So it's like a big deal.
It's kind of like the pressure's on now, because people finally realize it's how important it is. You're like, oh, we better not screw up now.
But before that, I worked for a Microsoft Accenture joint venture called Avanade. Spent a couple years with IBM and worked for a company called Sterling Commerce. I actually came to Pittsburgh over 20 years ago and worked for a company called Free Markets. You probably remember those guys.
You go back to the free market days.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness.
That's right.
And you stayed in Pittsburgh ever since.
I didn't think it was going to be a long stint here, but here I am 22 years later.
We sunk our hooks into you, man. You couldn't leave. It goes to show you there's so much opportunity here in Pittsburgh that a person at your level, your caliber, can stay here in Pittsburgh and continue to do great work that keeps you excited and challenged, right?
Yeah, so we're having fun at Lucas. Like I said, lots happening in the industry.
Very much so. So let's jump into a little bit about what you guys are up to right now. Because like I said, I keep getting these press releases. And I'm always like, oh my God, man. Geez, this is, I have to, first off, I'm thinking you have to be one of the leaders in the world when it comes to this type of technology being deployed.
I would say we are. I'd say we are the leading company when it comes to, we do a very specific set of technologies that really involve how to help workers do their jobs better. And many years ago, Lucas figured out that voice was a really good way to communicate with people.
Jennifer.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. And we invented Jennifer long before Alexa, Siri, all these new assistants. That was 26 years ago, we had Jennifer, and workers in a warehouse talk to Jennifer like they're talking to a person, and she tells them what to do. But the last probably 10 years or so, a lot of the focus has been on what we call optimization, and using a lot more data science, because as you just started, I said the warehouses are getting really complicated, right? And they're getting bigger. I was just in a warehouse in Texas, one of our customers, Henry Schein, and they have 1 million square feet warehouse.
Goodness,
if you stand at one end of that,
you can't see their end.
I can hardly see you. To give you a sense of how big these distribution centers are getting.
They're having like drag races in there on the weekend,
you
right?
Could,
yeah,
you
it's
could.
kind of crazy.
But it gives you a sense of scale.
Definitely.
As to what is going on when you drive by these buildings along the highway. There is a lot going on inside, and it's getting harder and harder for them to figure out how to do all that work and get the work done and get it done faster. So that's where you have a real chance to bring in, much more sophisticated mathematical optimization type technologies, and that's what we're spending a lot of time on.
You're saying all the cool words, man, because it comes down to having this leading edge technology, of course, which is being driven by AI these days, and you guys have been just taking the lead on this stuff. Yeah. I mean, first off, let's jump into the last headline that I got from you guys, and it's all around this reslotting technology. Yeah. Can we jump into that and tell me a little bit what's going on with that?
Yeah. Yeah, so first of all, what is slotting?
Yeah.
As you said, most people don't spend a lot of time in distribution centers. So slotting is basically how to get the right products in the right place, right?
And how important is that? I mean,
well,
that's everything, right? Because if you go to pick something, it's got to be where you think it's going to be, right?
So you can already see, like, if you don't have that efficiently organized, you can have people running around the warehouse going from one end to the other because you haven't got a good strategy for how you can minimize the amount of movement in there. Mm-hmm. But this is traditionally typically a very difficult problem. It takes a lot of math, computer programs, industrial engineers, and often the analysis takes weeks. So what we did at Lucas was we really made that whole solving the problem really easy. You can push a button now, and you'll get the answers about where to put products in the warehouse.
So it'll analyze what you got, and then tell you where to put it based upon.
in just a couple of seconds. But the other cool part is the people on the floor, the supervisors, the managers. There's the ones that need to do this, and they don't really have the tools to do it. So Lucas has spent the last few years really perfecting how we can make something that is really hard to do very easy to do,
Absolutely.
and put it in the hands of the folks that actually need it. That's what's so cool about it. And we're the only ones doing this in the industry, and we call it dynamic slotting because traditionally that big problem I said about where to put products in the warehouse, people figure it out maybe once a year, twice a year. With this product, you're doing it every day.
Wow, you think about that, how fast everything changes now, too. And that way, I mean, literally within a day, where you need to put stuff can just change. And so if you're waiting a year to do that, you're losing efficiency.
You're out of date already. I mean, remember what's going on. You're going to have promotions. You're going to have seasonality. Yep. You're going to have consumer preference changes. So even if you think it's perfect today, it's not perfect tomorrow. So the more you can reslot, the more efficient you can be, and you can save miles in terms of how much workers walk every day.
Man, and
so it has a big impact.
It comes down to making the job better, less like accidents and things like that. Just all these different things that come into play that can just really slow a business down.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is amazing. We got to take a quick break though. We're going to come back and talk more about what you're up to because, like, rumor has it you guys have had something like 100 billion. That's B with a billion. I sound like Dr. Evil here. 100 billion picks. Since, I mean, that's a lot. And I can only imagine the data you're collecting from that you're using to build these optimizations with. So, Ken, stick around with me. We're going to come back for more TechVibe Radio here. I love giving people a front row seat to the cool companies like Lucas Systems. Hang there. Go to lucasware.com to check you guys out. You got some great case studies there and things like that to go through it. Hey, while you're doing that, go to pghtech.org. Check out the Tech Council. We love helping tech companies succeed. This is Jonathan Kirsting, of course, with the Pittsburgh Tech Council. Hang on. I'll be right back in a quick sec. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at Compunetics.com. Every company needs to attract and keep talented people. To do it, you need a strong company story told by those who experience it every day, your employees. So invite your people to be your brand voice and let the Kindling Culture Agency gather and ignite your stories to engage and attract your people. Learn how at sparksomething.big.com. That's sparksomething.big.com. Your dial is set to TechVibe Radio, brought to you by Compunetics, Chorus Call, Highmark, Huntington Bank, Kindling, PNC Bank, and Xavier. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. So glad you're hanging out with us here on TechVibe Radio this morning. What a good time. I love talking to the people that are just making Pittsburgh awesome. Simple as that. And we're hanging out with Ken Ramoutar today from Lucas Systems. Ken, you stuck around with me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love talking to you, John.
Oh, I have guests that just flee for the hills sometimes. They're like, I can't take this anymore. I'm like, please come back. I want to tell your story. And they're like, no. I'm like, please. But you're here, and I'm so glad because before we left, I alluded to the fact 100 billion picks, which is pretty freaking cool, man. Before we talk about, what exactly is a pick in a warehouse? I can imagine what a pick is, but there's a technical term for that. Yeah. And why it's so important that there's been 100 billion of them with your software in place.
Yeah. So what a pick is in distribution center languages, every time you order something on, whether it's online or, that item it sits on a shelf somewhere. Somebody has to go pick it or grab it. And then many times those folks are called pickers.
Okay.
Right? And picking is a process in the warehouse. So when we said Lucas has, been part of 100 billion picks with Jennifer, that means 100 billion times somebody has used Jennifer to go and take one item off of a shelf and help fulfill an order. That's what a pick is.
I'm thinking about 100 billion. And what that, I don't think the human brain can really fathom what 100 billion is. Seriously. If you take like 100 billion like quarters and stack them up, you're probably going to the end of the universe and back by that point.
That's right.
It's craziness.
Yeah.
How many picks that is.
Yeah. We can do that number by the day, and it's like 700,000 a day.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's more easier to digest. But even think, 700,000 times somebody's reaching in and grabbing an item to fill it, and then you're using Lucas to do it.
And I'm thinking about 100 billion times you made it easier for that pick to happen and more efficient and more accurate too. Because I know a lot of times people are picking the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's part of our technology to help it, not just help people do it faster, but if you have a voice-directed system like Jennifer, she helps you know that you're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
She tells you where to go, and then you confirm you've done the right thing, and it makes the job just a lot less stressful.
Right.
Because you can see what you're doing. You got a voice system on, and your hands are free, and that makes job a lot more comfortable.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's one of the key things about your technology is the fact that this is hard work out there for these folks that are doing this. And this is good. This is good. This is the workers that we need. Like I said, we don't take for granted when my Amazon stuff shows up. That it shows up.
Shows up.
A human being was involved with that. But the idea that you can make this more engaging, make it easier on them, less stressful, and you've done things to gamify it to make it more fun, so that way as they are picking, it's like a game, and they're getting better at it. Yeah. Tell me how you guys have gamified some of this stuff.
Well, first of all, the topic of gamification. So what's the issue? The issue is that it's really hard to keep warehouse workers. You just said all the reasons why. It's tough work.
Yeah.
People don't usually aspire to make a career out of it. So doing picking all day, every day can get really tedious. And so all the warehouse operators are searching for more people, and they're trying to figure out ways to keep them engaged. So one of the things that we've discovered at Lucas is that everybody loves games. And we did a whole study last year and found that hands down, people enjoy games. They're already doing so much in their personal lives. So if you can bring it into the workplace, make it a little bit more fun, like contests, leaderboards, prompts that tell people how they're doing. Everybody likes to compete or even work within a team, so you can set up teams. So that's the kind of stuff we're working on with gamification is how do we help those workers that we're already helping just be more engaged, happier, have a little more fun at work, and they're more likely to stay.
100%. And I guarantee you, man, I mean, if you look at like if a warehouse is spending half its time just making sure there's enough people to man it, and they can cut down on that, that's just a tremendous value to them. And then you're making it fun for the people to go there and do what they do. So
there's millions of open warehouse jobs right now in the country.
Absolutely.
You know, they can't. Operators can't find enough people.
Is there a point where like there wouldn't be a need for them? I mean, I know there's many companies that do robots that go through and pick, but I think there's only a certain level you can do that at, where you still need to have a certain number of people in a warehouse, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of warehouse operators are trying different forms of robots because they are suffering.
Yeah,
from,
I mean,
from
like really,
lack
they
of
can't
people.
get the people, so they need something to.
So they're trying.
Do
the technology's not quite there where you can do what humans can completely do. Like go down, put your hand in a bin, find the right thing. Sometimes there's loose items in there, or it's not precisely aligned to where, you know,
in
you said the box was here, but the box is, you know, over here. There's the need for people. I mean, I think more and more warehouses are trying to automate what they can automate.
Of course.
We don't see a world where people are going to be out of the warehouse.
No,
at least
not
probably
anytime
not while I'm
soon.
alive.
Yeah, not in our lifetimes, that's for
Yeah,
sure. So in
yeah.
the meantime, the technology that Lucas is creating is just so essential to keeping our economy moving, for crying out loud. Like seriously, it's big stuff.
A lot of work goes on behind the scenes. Lucas is behind it in distribution centers. Nobody sees that. They just see the packages show up on their front porch.
Exactly. That's why I'm like one of these guys. I never take it for granted. Like my lights turn on in the morning because I think about what it takes to like make electricity and actually send it to my house. Same thing with like my packages and food and stuff. Like maybe I'm getting weird in my old age, but like these are things that like we don't take it for granted. But I'm glad Lucas is doing what you're doing to keep the warehouses rolling. And the whole just advent. I mean, we guys have been dabbling in AI since before AI was cool in the past couple years. I know it probably goes back to, obviously, you're using AI when you have with Jennifer.
That's right.
Everything
That's
like
right.
that.
A bunch of the voice technology has a lot of very smart AI types of functions in it. But warehouses are, you know, it's a really good environment for that kind of technology, making a lot of decisions, having to do them very fast, where there's so much data that a human can't do it anymore. If I have 100 workers and I'm trying to assign all the proper work to all the right people so that everything gets done at the right time, those are hard problems. So the warehouses are full of those kinds of problems, and the volumes are growing, and so it's really a great place. An application, you know, it's a great place to put AI technology. And AI is not great for everything. That's a really good environment.
An area, especially because it kind of it's a closed environment too. You have a place, there's walls, like you can kind of keep things contained, for lack of a better term. Which I think, I don't know, I just find it amazing that you've been using this technology for 26 years, and now it's just you're going into triple overdrive.
Yeah, we've continued to evolve it over this 26 years. Where the distribution business has changed a lot in 26 years, and it's on fire right now. Like I said, there's so much going on. Like you said, robotics, automation, all kinds of new tech. People trying to put drones in warehouses. So they're all trying to keep up with the massive. You brought it up earlier, massive amount of pressure that they're feeling. So,
and the best part of this is you guys are in Pittsburgh doing this. Wexford, I should say more accurately. But I love the idea you can just drive up Route 19 there and right off the side of the road, like in that building, there's some pretty smart people solving really tough problems there, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, we got a lot of great smart people there. Yeah, data scientists, engineers, software engineers.
How many folks are working for Lucas these days?
We're right around 100 these days.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot of people.
Yeah, and we're growing. And we have a UK office as well.
Exactly.
And we're building out that business.
I remember when you guys opened the UK office. That was kind of a big deal, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're doing great. So, growing, doing well.
I love it, man. I love it. So we've got a couple minutes left.
Yep.
The future. I mean, obviously, there's more AI, but like, what can we think about like into 2025, which I hate to say it is right around the corner.
Yeah. There's a lot of new and interesting things in our idea bin. I mean, you mentioned gamification, so we're working on that.
Okay.
We're working to try to make sure that we can work well with the robots when they come in.
Be nice to them. Be nice to them.
No
insults.
Just because you have one doesn't mean it knows what to do.
That too.
So, you know what I mean? So you can stick a robot in. But so part of our strategy is to make sure we can organize the people and the robots, because we do see robots in the warehouse.
That makes total sense. The idea that it can be a blended like environment.
Yeah, and I think that's how it's going to be. Robots are going to be good for certain jobs and that people don't even want to do. I mean, they're just repetitive or moving stuff around. It's like, hey, I don't want to do that. But they're not going to do everything. So that's one of the things that we're working on. We're continuing to work on, keep refining our optimizations, how to squeeze more efficiency, how to make those workers' jobs easier. All that has, leads to, savings to the bottom line. But also companies are growing, and they don't want to get new warehouses. Warehouses are expensive, so the more you can get done in your own warehouse, the more you can get out of it, the better. So we're constantly working on ways to get more out of it, and that helps our customers.
Well, you guys are busy, and I love that. And 2025 seems like it's going to be pretty amazing. So, wow, this is such a cool story, Ken. I can't thank you enough for stopping by TechVibe here and just telling us a little piece of this story because I'm amazed.
Okay, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Without a doubt. Go to lucasware.com. Check it out there.
Lucasware.com.
And after you do that, hang out there for like half an hour, and then go over to pghtech.org and check us out. And you can see what's going on in Pittsburgh's tech sector here. There's so much going on. Thank you for joining me this morning, getting this front row seat tour of what's happening here in Pittsburgh. Do appreciate your time, spending your Sunday with me and Ken. So, hey, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. There's a lot of day left out there. Go grab it, everybody. Thanks for geeking out with us on TechVibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at Compunetics.com, Chorus Call at ChorusCall.com, Highmark at Highmark.com, Huntington Bank at Huntington.com, Kindling at TheKindlingAgency.com, PNC Bank at PNC.com, and Savier at Savier.com. And we're always coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios.